So I thought today we could go over my TBR, my to be read pile for 2024. This seems like a video that lots of people on BookTube like to watch, so let me join in because I haven't really been reading still. And okay, no, I read the book that I wanted to talk about, but I gotta write a little something to prep for it. But for this year, I've got a couple in my TBR. I do have a Goodreads account, which I'll link down below if you want to follow me or whatever, that has some books on there as well. This list is a mixture of books that I was already interested in. You know, nobody really influenced me all that much to personally want to get it. Some of these are books that I actually have already read or I've already started reading, but I want to reread them because I want to. But also because I'm trying to get through them. And then some of them are like TikTok, Book Talk, BookTube recommended. They're the hype on the internet, right? And of course that doesn't mean that I don't have some interest in some sort of way in them, but they wouldn't really be my first picks if well, maybe they would be, but let's just get to, shall we? Let's go down a list and I'll explain. So there are a couple memoir type books in this list. The Woman in Me by Britney Spears. I'm a millennial. I was born in 1991. I grew up on Britney Spears. I cannot remember if her debut album was my first CD or if the NSYNC one was. One of those was my very first CD. So I grew up with Britney and I've been invested in the whole thing with her, so I definitely want to read this book. Bean Baby by Selma Blair is another one. I started that, but I never ended up going past, I want to say like 1 or 2 chapters, and since Selma Blair is a fellow Spoonie, she's also disabled, I want to read that book because I think there's going to be some stuff that's going to be talked about in there. And so Gypsy Rose just came out with like a short book or something. It's a memoir, and I think it's about, well, it is about her time in prison and all the abuse that she grew up with. I grew up with abuse myself, not to the extent that Gypsy had to go through, but I relate to her in ways, and so she's been someone I've been interested in reading more about, watching more about, and I want it from her words and not something like The Act, which was obviously fictionalized in a lot of stuff. Like half the time when somebody's like, well, why didn't she do this and that? I'm like, the show is partially fake, okay? Stop. This is more on the self-help side, but The Body Keeps the Score. I was given to this by someone who also went through things similar to me, and since therapy is very inaccessible to deaf people in a variety of ways, he recommended this to me, and I've started on it. I'm actually on chapter 5 at this point, page 75, so maybe I will be able to get through this. It's very wordy, lots of, you know, fancy jargon, scientific, whatever jargon, so it's a bit of a pain to get through and the font is so small. So it's not a book that I'm like really wanting to like read all night, but it's there. Now let's get through the fiction part. Battle Royale. Now Battle Royale is actually a favorite book of mine since high school. I read it so many times. I just want to reread it again because it's been so long, but I'm sad. I don't have the physical copy with me here. I think it's back in North Carolina. The physical book that I have has the original cover. I don't want the new covers. I like the original one. And getting that physical copy, I had to go find it. Somebody bought it for me, I think. They went searching for it, and now I'm sad I don't have it. If I have to get the Kindle version or whatever I can get, I will, but I love that original cover. And to go along with that, I think you might know where I'm getting at here because this was the talk of the century, the Hunger Games series. I've read books 1 and 2, I know for sure. I can't remember if I've read Mockingjay, but I've seen all the movies. But I know I have not read the prequel and I have not seen the prequel film. So my idea is that I'm going to start with the prequel book and then go through the rest of the series. I mean, that just makes sense. These are 2 books that I wish okay. Listen, Spicy Book Talk, the Facebook group especially. Hunting Adeline and Haunting Adeline. I don't know which order those are. I know some of the scenes in the book, And because of that, I kept telling myself this is going to be garbage. And I know people are going to be like, well, you can't say that's garbage if you haven't read it. So that's why I'm going to read it, or attempt to read it, so I can put my foot where my mouth is and, you know, actually see for myself exactly what it's like. But judging by some of the scenes that I know, my brain is, listen, I'm into some kinky stuff. But there is a line to be drawn somewhere. But it's going to be on my list. It's going to be on my list. One of these days it's going to pop up on my Kindle, or I'm going to get it from the library. Do they have this book at the library? I wonder. This is another author that I'm just like... But I'm so curious about Colleen Hoover. Don't worry, I know the history, I know the controversy, but I'm so curious in a horrible way. I'm a masochist, you know. But I have learned that maybe someday has a deaf character in it. Part of my career is talking about media and the representation of deaf characters, disabled characters. So maybe someday it's going to be on that list. And then of course I wanted to try out the more popular books that she has. So It Starts With Us and Verity. And if I get through It Starts With Us and I feel like starting the sequel that comes with it, I guess that's going to be added on there. But out of those three, maybe someday is the one that I'm going to be a little more drawn to, because I gotta know how she's writing those characters. I have to know. This next one is special to me. True Biz. This is actually a novel written by a friend of mine, and I've started it. I started it multiple times. I love the idea of it. I love what I've read so far. The only thing that's making it difficult for me to get through is the lack of punctuation, the lack of quotation marks on any of the dialogue. And my brain just keeps coming to a halt every time that there's dialogue, and I have to like go back and be like, oh wait, this is somebody saying something. I hate to say it, I hate to talk about that, because I don't want it to seem like I'm bashing my friend. I'm not. It's just a formatting thing that my brain doesn't like. But the story itself so far, I've gotten through a bit of it, is really nice. Sarah's a great writer. It's just the lack of quotations in my brain do not work together. Another book talk favorite, it seems, Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. I will admit, I do like the covers. I think they're very pretty. I saw the one with the black pages, or the black edges, at Barnes & Noble some time ago. I thought it was really pretty. It's been a very long while since I really read like YA stuff, YA dystopian stuff. I don't know, I'm curious. A lot of people really love it and a lot of people really don't like it. ACOTAR, that whole entire series, seems to be a very well loved series, so I'm curious. 100 Days of Sunlight caught my attention because there's supposed to be disability representation. This book is actually written by a YouTuber named Abby Emmons, so I've been curious about that. That's been on my list ever since I started watching her, because I really like to watch her videos for, you know, writing advice, and I always like to watch her live streams, her writing with me live streams. It helps me with my own writing, so it's like having a friend with you. And last but not least, this is just Stephen King in general. So right now I have The Mist. I hated the movie. I watched The Mist during one of my visits here to Omaha before I moved here, and I just couldn't get into it. I just was so bored. It's funny because I just finally started watching The Walking Dead in full, which I also stopped. And I was like, wait, lots of cast members are in The Walking Dead and in this movie. So I want to try to give this a shot. This was very cheap, $3.49 at half price books. And it's small, it fits on the shelf pretty nice. I have read Carrie. I like Carrie. Carrie is one of my favorite horror movies. And there's a couple of books from Stephen King that I want to read. It is on my Kindle. The Shining is on my Kindle. There's a couple of his books on my Amazon wish list, so why not? I love horror movies. I love watching horror movies, and I love watching people play horror games. I don't like playing horror games. Really, I don't like playing games in general that make me have to do things other than go pew pew. So that's why I like Fortnite, and I grew up with Pokemon. I never really read very much horror. I love watching it, but I don't really read a lot of it. So I want to get into some horror books, you know? And Stephen King is obviously like the perfect author to start with. Of course, he's not the only person that writes horror, so people should go check out some other horror authors out there. We're gonna start off with Stephen King, especially because at half price books, he's like the only horror author that takes up the shelves besides that VC something person. So I'm just going with this guy for now. But yeah, that's pretty much it on my TBR for right now. Of course, I could end up not reading any of these books, half of these books. There's probably going to be more that end up being on this list because I find out something comes out and I seem interested in it. But for right now, that's what we got written down. And if you have any horror suggestions to read, leave them down in the comments below. Make my search a little bit easier, please. So yeah, let me know down below in the comments what your TBR, your to be read list for 2024 is, and maybe I will look some of those up. I probably will, and I will add them to my own list, either for this year as well or for the future. If you want to be part of a little book club thing, you want to get extra content for book stuff, I do have a Patreon page, so if you want to become a member there, I would very much appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel if you would like. I'm almost at 200 subscribers, so that's very nice. And I will see you later.